Hello everybody, Poison Fog Gaming here, Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. This time we are doing Valley of Kings from the career mode, and we are going to be going through a playthrough with all the tips and tricks that I have amassed over this playthrough. For our objectives this time, we have a minimum guests in the park of 300 sustained for a month, total monthly ride income of 100, and a minimum ride length of 820 feet for 2 coasters. Entrepreneur, guests in the park, 450 for 2 months and repay the loan. God, I hate that. Really hate that objective. And finally the Tycoon, we have 600 guests in the park, sustained for at the very least 3 months. Total monthly ride income of 700 and a minimum ride length of 820 feet for 3 coasters. In terms of the rides that we have available, you've just seen them getting flashed up on the left. Nothing too impressive, but enough to get you by. That said, this is probably one of the harder scenarios, and I find in order to complete this and not have to sit and wait and grind, what you have to do is take out the maximum loan and spend all of it. You have to spend absolutely all of it on rides. I get 2 long enough roller coasters from the get-go, turn the research down as well, but yeah, 2 large roller coasters that just make the ride requirements, and even a couple more roller coasters than that, because 2 roller coasters and a few thrill rides is just not enough. So having round about 4 roller coasters is kind of what I find you need here. Once you've got 2 of a adequate length. And I've just realised something. I didn't count the roller coaster that's already bloody there. So I have 3 fairly long coasters, and then a couple shorter ones just to pad out the park. Low cost, big excitement. So yeah, there's one little cock up that I think I've already noticed. That said, there is another little cock up further in the scenario, which we will get to. And if you want to know what that is, at this stage, check your shops, but there will be more details on that as and when we get there. The more pressing matters when we are talking about what's currently on the screen is this is a no terraforming scenario. That cut that I made in the land, which was semi-intentional, can't be modified and rounded off, etc. We just aren't allowed access to the terrain tools in this one. That cut that might have been a slightly more accidental, same thing. So that is a pain in the arse, but I did do a little bit of bamboo walls and wooden supports around it just to make it look a little bit more intentional, which it may not entirely have been at the planning stage. Also, for this one, I do not want guests to be standing still. I always want the guests to be on a ride, because the money is just hard to come on this scenario, and I'm not entirely sure why. I don't know if it's part of the programming, just that the peeps are meant to be harder to please. But that's why I've added the 2 stations, an exit and an entrance, just to keep people flowing. And you'll see that on more than one of the roller coasters in this activity, because in the first playthrough it was just like, this is slow, I need to really work on the technique. Here's the coaster now that it's been recolored, and you can see the bamboo walls, and there will be a point of view ride on it as well. If you just hang fire, we will get all the rides ridden at some point. So along my theory of getting 2 rather long roller coasters, oh in fact no, I was talking absolute balls. We do need 3 coasters for the Tycoon. That was my mistake, so I was right to do 2 long coasters. This is the second. spinning wild mouse. I'm not quite as thrilled with the design of this one as I was in my draft, but this one does get quite interesting because I build it and the roller coaster is absolutely fine, but it has a really shocking excitement rating. And oddly enough, changing the speed up by 1 click of the chain lifts and ticking the low friction box turned it from what game would class as a low to medium excitement roller coaster, completely transformed it into a high excitement roller coaster that I could easily charge over £5 a ride for. So if you ever have watched my other videos and you see me sitting at the end of a coaster build and I'm watching the little ghost cars go round, what I'm doing is playing with the speeds, playing with the chain lift speeds, playing with the block brakes, etc. Seeing if we can fiddle the numbers to get the most out of the ride, and subsequently happiest peeps who are willing to pay lots of money to ride said ride. One thing I do like about this coaster is I do have lots of crosses and track turns, lots of interaction with itself. And the squiggle at the end was just because I was a little bit unsure of whether I had the length or not. Again, 2 station setup, making sure that the peeps can come in and just continuously flow on this roller coaster. Now, I do believe I have edited the video to show the results as they come out, and you'll notice they are quite low. They're about to come up now. Look at that, 2.89, low friction, 1 click up on the lift speed, and we're going to send that thing round again. That was me just checking that I had the length successfully long enough, which I did. Slight recolouring of the coaster as well. This is strange because this is the first park that I really thought I was going to do a good bit of decor to, a good bit of land sculpting and whatever else, and then I realised that we had no sculpting tools and it was completely and utterly buggered from that point in. Next we have what's it called? A launched freefall. You've seen this one before if you've watched my other videos. It's cheap, it's compact, and it's capable of being quite exciting for being cheap and compact. So it made the park out of necessity more than anything else. We need to generate profit, and I do really like the ride placement that I went for as well, making it interact with the wooden wild mine. And it's also really cool when you're riding the wooden wild mine that you can see the big upright for the reverse freefall launch coaster. And again, I just really like the interaction between the two. The colours I'm not convinced on, but it's what I went with, and they don't change. Log flume is going in just to attract more people. I've also found that not only do people not necessarily spend an awful lot of stuff here, it's difficult to get the people in the park. So this is just to have another feature. It was quite cheap, it's not overly exciting, but it's another reason for people to come to the park, and that's why I put it in. Because it's not going to be an exciting ride, I couldn't be bothered making it, to be fair. So it's the preloaded one on the game. It does now mean we should have roller coasters to suit all the age ranges, 2 junior rides, 2 adult rides, and of course we want to play with the cars released so that they all come out at different times. This is the on ride of the wild wooden, I've forgotten its name. This one. Nice dips on this one. I really like how this one has big drops. Don't necessarily like how it twats you in the forehead, but very little I can do about that. There you can see me propping up the dirt, just trying to make it look semi-realistic. Good view of the park from that top point there. You can see the reverse free fall, you can see the junior coaster well, and from here it's a wacky ride all the way to the end. I did consider putting this into the hill itself and out, but with the fact I couldn't look at that view there, good view of the reverse free fall. But yeah, with the lack of terrain tools and the inability to clean it up afterwards, I decided against that. I'm actually really happy with how this one turned out. It's nice and smooth all the way to the end, good rating, and it kind of fits in with the theme. I kind of thought it would look like we would be mining that hill, and it wouldn't look too out of place. Of course, as we are riding these rides, we have the park playing in the background. That's why I chose to build everything first. So now we should be able to get an influx of people as we're riding the rides. Just trying to limit the wasted time for you guys viewing the video. This wild mouse, it does spin a lot, so the viewing might not be the best, but you get a good idea of, if this was real, just how much the roller coaster would throw you about. Certainly towards the end it does spin rather fast, which good for some, maybe not good for everyone, but it's the way it is. I got my numbers and that's what is required for the scenario. This bit here, surely you're going to be a bit dizzy after this. I don't know if the spinning is too much or not, but the game says it's not. If you're interested in the log flume car ride, it's coming up, but it is worth putting the staff in at this point, which is exactly what I've done. A little bit of money. It should be now that people need the paths cleaned and the rides repaired and maintained. So it's all balanced now, just keeping people happy, but at the same time making sure you're not spending more than you're bringing in. As per usual, we have surpassed the objective, but we do have a period of waiting before it kicks in. And I already know that the next objective is to repay that loan, which is why I don't want to be putting out a whole lot of money here. I'm just making sure that all the cars match, are nicely coloured. It's the launched, reversed, free fall, short, sweet, exciting, scary, and again, love the fact that it comes underneath the wooden coaster. And that's all there really is to say about that. It's a good earner, and you get lots of income as a result. And Janitor 1 is unhappy. Boo-hoo, you've been trained in everything, Janitor 1. Although, to be fair, I probably wouldn't be happy if I was you either. We are paying all our staff peanuts, and it's going to get worse. Mind your ears, we are now entrepreneurs. And it's the same thing. It is the same thing now that you've seen in so many scenarios before. We need to make more money, we have to repay the loan. Ugh. Here's the log flume that you were promised, purely because I'm padding out time, because I've got to repay a loan. Fun fact, if you skip back the video a little bit, you'll see some floating lights in the distance. Not me, that's how the game comes. Oh, look at the people having so much fun! Yay! Honestly, this is a crap ride. Log flumes are actually quite fun in real life. I do like the drops. They just come across really bad in the game. And now it's a case of look at my income, look at what I need to build, realise I need more income, can the research, And remember I said about the shops earlier, this is probably my biggest thing about this scenario, and I only just learned it when I started to check this. Most of these shops that can sell multiple items are only selling the smallest and the cheapest option. And in that chicken scenario, the smallest, cheapest option was about 160 that we were selling that for. Look here with the cookies, we could be selling things for close to £3. But the default setting was only selling the smallest item for 70p. So, big thing here, I would probably advise doing this actually at the start of the game. Go through all the shops that are pre-built, and there's a lot of shops pre-built in this park. You'll notice I've not actually had to build any. Go through them all, make sure they're selling all sizes of things so that you can sell things for more money. And I think that was actually one of the biggest stumbling blocks and the biggest errors in this playthrough. To the point that I don't even remember if this was in the original version of RCT3 or if this is part of the new complete collection that they've recently re-released. I don't remember having to do this in the past, but it was a long time ago in the past, so maybe, maybe not. What I do remember is that this part was always a bit of a grind. We have chipped away at the loan, and we are still making money in a nice pace, so it is time for building a roller coaster. And I can tell you now that that roller coaster does not stay there, because the entrance and exit did not fit under the bridge. So it's been moved over. Still in a central place where you should be able to see views from each side of the ride. And of course we want to skimp on the cost as much as possible by not building too high, but also fiddle with the numbers to try and get the best results. Turns out within a few different speeds and a few different heights of the pole, you get next to no change in the numbers. We settle at 360 excitement, so we can charge just over £3 for this ride per pop. And if I'm being honest with you, we don't really have money troubles from here on out. It is just a case of waiting and grinding and waiting and grinding, and it's my biggest gripe of the game, even though I love the game. Janitor 1 is still unhappy. Cheer up, love. It's not that bad. You can see there, even with me building, I'm still making enough money to pay off a segment of loan before I look for something else to do. And that's kind of my whole strategy from here until the loan is paid off. Pay it off, do something, make sure we keep the park coming up. Remember, for the Tycoon level, we do have to get 650 guests in, so the park does need to be steadily built, and there's no reason not to work towards that while we're waiting. Unlike the last scenario where you could just do stuff and walk away, here at least there is something still to get to. The difficulty curve here does start to ramp up just on keeping you busy. It's not a fast scenario. There possibly is a way to do it faster than I've done it, but for now that's what it is. And this is where I get really, really greedy. First time I've done this in any of my videos in this playlist. I've taken all the vendors and all the ride operators, and we've halved their wages. We've also trained them. Don't get me wrong, we have trained them. We've disciplined them. Usually I don't really give a toss about my vendors, but I just needed to make so much money quickly, and for YouTube it's actually faster to gain money by reducing their money, and even with the training costs we still made more money faster than by not doing it. So that's why we've done it. You can see that money is skyrocketing while I am padding time placing bins. Placing bins, why? It means I need less janitors, so I don't need to pay as many janitors, and it keeps the paths slightly cleaner, keeps people happy. Benches, keeps people happy. Remember, I need to make this park attractive enough for 650 peeps all to be in here at the same time and sustain that for 3 months. The park has to be good, people need to be able to go to the loo, people need to be able to shop, to eat, to rest, and they want to have pleasant surroundings. The Odyssey ride, I had no idea where to put it. I tried to put it in the log flume without success, and then I just placed it where the other water stuff. In fact, no, I didn't. I scrapped it completely because this plot of land could facilitate a larger ride. I just positioned it where I thought nice ride interaction would be. If you were on that ride, coming into fairly close encounters with the flumes, it just seemed something worth doing at the time. A little bit gutted about the inability to, paint the terrain or cut into the terrain in any way. I took the place where water's probably going to land on the ground that should be lush and green, and I just added some plants in. Again, it's partly padding out my time, and it's also going to add a little bit to the ride excitement. This is one of the most boring rides. Unfortunately, it doesn't look as amazing as it could do with a little bit of sand and a little bit of grass down there, but that's the way it is. We don't have these tools. And again, you can see that money is rising steadily. These are not high cost investments, and it was trying to do a little bit realistically, as in where the water would lie and where weeds would form anyway. Only 7,000 of loan left to go. We've already got enough in the bank to get down to 4,000. And it's the same old grind. Pop in more rides, which means park rating, which means peep numbers, which means more profit, and step closer to those final goals. And it is fairly amusing to me that the reward for passing the entrepreneur stage is that the interest rates fall, which is the most pointless bloody reward I think I have ever seen in a game ever. We don't need it anymore. The amount of money that we are pumping out just to repay that loan means that we are making a profit, and a big profit at that. And the reward? Congratulations, you can now get more money. I'm printing bloody money! Anyway, I don't think I did place much scenery elsewhere apart from just brighten up this one ride, which I did notice was quite dark at night time. Nothing too special there. I also put the budget for research back up again because I was running out of things to build. I think if I was speaking honestly, I wouldn't have needed much else, if anything else, but you have to sustain this 650 for 3 months. It would suck so much just to have that dip below, say 2.5 months in. That would be horrible, so I did want something else in the park. In terms of roller coasters, there was slim pickings, so I've gone for this absolutely horrendously ugly bastard. It fits the criteria, it's cheap, it's exciting, at least the game calls it exciting, but it looks horrible, so I've stuck it right the way to the edge. But you can see now, we have enough people in the park. Stick a thrill right in front of it to try and hide the thing. It's a horrible coaster. Turns out, however, we didn't really need to do it. We have now surpassed all the objectives we need, apart from just waiting for the 3 months to tick out, and that, ladies and gents, is this scenario complete. The topple tower doesn't get built, we are done here. So hopefully you've enjoyed, ladies and gents. Please consider liking, subscribing, sharing the video around. It really would make my day. But for now guys, take care.